Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast. My name's Coach Scott. I'll be your host today. It is Monday, November 25th, the start of a new week. I do apologize for not getting the podcast out last Friday. I even promised you guys that I would do it. It was just a long weekend. I don't really have great excuses. I've been in one of these kind of spells that I get under where I record the podcast, and I don't like it, and I record it again, and I re-record. I stop in the middle and do all that. And on Friday, I had Ellie here. Stephanie was in New York City, and I was in the last, what I was hoping was going to be the last iteration of the podcast, about 5 minutes in, and I had the monitor, which is on my phone. I had the monitor sitting here, and I was hoping she would take a 3-hour nap, which she usually does, and she wound up tapping out at about 1 hour. So it didn't get done. I do apologize. We had a lot of good things going on this weekend too. We're going to talk about that today, though, which is great. Let's talk about first how the layout of the podcast. So first thing I'm going to do on the podcast is we're going to do the raffle, the Ordinary Marathon raffle. We have a couple prizes to raffle off. We were supposed to do it yesterday, didn't do it. You sensing a theme here? A little procrastination theme. I'm feeling it too. I don't like it. I don't like that I'm in a rut like that, but got to get these things done. Got to get them in. And in a way, initially I was going to do the raffle at the end of the podcast and make you guys listen to the whole thing before we did the raffle. But then I realized, you know what? If I do the raffle up front, then I'll kind of feel beholden to the winners because I can't announce winners and then have them not win if I have to do record the podcast. So that's sort of a way for me to just stay on track here. Then we're going to talk about the races from this past weekend. We have 4 of them in particular to discuss. And then we're going to do our athlete profile. Ben Hinton, we're going to profile this week. We're going to read his profile from our teamordinary.com page. So there's that. So before we get started, I do want to mention one more person. Mary Ryan is part of Team Ordinary. So we have a spot on Team Ordinary. Let's talk about Team Ordinary in general. Going over to teamordinary.com. If you're interested to join the team, by all means, you get a lot of benefits. Join the team. You'll get your team package, your team, all of the hats, the shirt. The shirt's awesome, by the way. A lot of you guys out there wearing it this weekend. Way to represent. Good job. I'm talking about you, Scott Fassard in the desert. That's awesome. It's great to see. The hat, the shirt. You're going to get a bag, a cinch bag for race day stuff if you want to use it for that. It works really well for me on bike rides. And sticker, whatever, all the good stuff. And then you also, the 2 things that you get that I think these are sort of like the unsung things that you get by joining the team. Number 1, you get a chance to write your athlete profile up on the page. And we have about, 65 people on the team, and probably 50 of them have submitted profiles. So we're going to be reading some of them online on the podcast. We've done 2 already. They've gotten really good reviews. A lot of people have good things to say about the athlete profile. So we're going to profile people on Monday, and I don't know. It's just great. And then there's the race schedule. So the race schedule, you get to put your races on the schedule, and then on the weekend that you race, we're gonna on Friday. The thought is that on Friday we will wish you good luck, and then on Monday we will congratulate you on your victories. And of course, this Friday I didn't do a podcast, so we owe these people a little extra time, I think, this weekend. By the way, I say a lot. Someone should do like a check mark, right? Just do like a count of how many times I say on the podcast. It drives me insane. I also drink too much coffee. By the way, Christian Lee, Duncan is doing paper cups now. No more styrofoam, at least for the holidays. I know Christian always gets me on my environmental lack of environmental consciousness. Look, it's just the way I roll. Anyway, so raffle, then races, then athlete bio. I think that'll make for a great podcast, and let's see what we got going on here. So let's start with the raffle. The Ordinary Marathon. It's our 10-day virtual race. This year is going to start on May 8th through May 17th. 2 dates to note within that time frame. Well, first of all, you can register at ordinarymarathon.com. Use the coupon code ORDINARY. You get $5 off. So the price is $30, but if you use the code ORDINARY, you'll get $5 off. It'll be $25. Now, if you want to just be nice and not use the code, that's cool too, because the extra money all goes to the SAM Fund. It all goes to benefit the SAM Fund. We've been out of pocket for this race every single year, but I love doing it. You can go check it out. Check out the highlights from last year's race. We always do a video. It's really cool. That's on ordinarymarathon.com as well. And actually, you can see the highlight video from the last 2 years' races. And we love doing it. We've opened registration up early this year. Oh, by the way, the second date, the 2 dates that you need, right? I don't think I mentioned this. So dates, the first date is May 9th. It's Saturday. That is our 5K. It's going to be held, optional 5K, held in East Longmeadow, Massachusetts. You can come on out and join us for that event if you're local, or if you want to make the trip out here, that's great. We'd love to have you. Love to have you at the live 5K. Again, if you don't live here, that's fine too. It's the virtual race the last 10 days. It's a huge event. The 5K is just optional. So you don't have to run the 5K to be part of the Ordinary Marathon. The second date to remember is, I believe it's May 16th, and that is the date of the Atlantic City Half Marathon. Now, we got together as a team in Marine Corps Marathon about a month ago, and a lot of you guys had such a good time that we were already planning for our next race this year, which is going to be the Philly Marathon. So, and the best part about Philly, and one of the reasons why we chose it, was because that they not only have a full marathon option, but they do a half marathon on Saturday too. So it's kind of open to more people, and more people can, if you don't think you're going to be feeling up to running a full marathon, or you don't want to train up to do a full marathon, or maybe you're just starting running and you're like, yeah, I'd love to do give me a goal to shoot for that's within the realm of possibility, that you can't fathom the full marathon, but you want a good goal. A half marathon is a great goal. We're a year away from it. In fact, Philly was just this past weekend. So we're a year away from the actual race. But some of the people who got involved with Team Ordinary for Marine Corps Marathon, they said, it's a little bit too long to wait a full year to hang out with you guys again. So we have to pick another race. So they picked the Atlantic City Rock and Roll Half Marathon. The Rock and Roll Half Marathon in Atlantic City, which is going to be, I think, May 16th. I believe it's either 16th or 17th, one of those days on the weekend. And so we kind of picked that race to cap off the 10-day virtual event of the Ordinary Marathon. So, and yes, the answer is yes, you can incorporate your real races in your virtual event. So you can incorporate the Atlantic City Half Marathon experience with your experience in the virtual Ordinary Marathon. Perfectly fine. Love to see it. And even the Ordinary Marathon, one of the other things to mention is you don't have to run a marathon. Now, we do talk about it and people have taken it on as a goal. Like, hey, it's called the Ordinary Marathon. I want to do a marathon. I have 10 days to do it. They add up their miles. They just try to do it. We've had some really inspirational stories that way. People, loving the fact that they have 10 days to do a full marathon and just taking that on as a challenge. And again, there is no mileage requirement. It's just what you can do. And then we have, on the other hand, we do give a prize away for the most miles ran over the 10 days. And that number is typically well over 100 miles. I think Ron Booz, did you win that last year? I don't remember. He was in the running. I don't remember if he won it or not. But man, it's a great race. Great to be involved. And now this year we've opened up registration super early. A lot of you guys have registered. We have 21 registrations already, so we're well on our way to another successful year. We've already given away a Garmin watch, and now this week we're giving away 2 things today. We're going to be giving away a medal rack, a Team Ordinary medal rack made by Brian Burke. He's a former podcast guest. He's an author. He's an ultra runner. He just did the JFK 50-mile race this past week. Congratulations on that, Brian. And he's also a woodworker. Wood carver. Does anyone have kids? You guys watch the movie Brave with the witch? You're a witch. I'm a wood carver. I think that's a pretty good impersonation. Let me know what you think. Wood carver. She probably lives in Glooscap too. Sorry, I'm just backing into my Nova Scotian memories. Anyway, yeah, so the first prize is the medal rack. I'm so off today. I'm just all over the place. And the second prize is a 1-hour consultation with our official team dietitian of Team Ordinary, Allison Knott. Allison was our podcast guest last week. If you haven't listened to that podcast, do yourself a favor, check it out. Talk to her for like an hour. And just really good information. I asked her a lot of questions that you guys had. We had a great conversation. And typically when I talk to Allison, she gives me so much knowledge and so much. It's just, I could talk to her forever and just ask her questions forever. But she's donated a 1-hour consultation, a free consultation with her. And I got to tell you, that is an awesome prize. Dealing with her and talking with her, she helped me so much in my Ironman training. And typically what happens is I take 2 or 3 nuggets of knowledge that she gives me a wave of stuff. and it's awesome. And I just pick and choose a couple things that I remember, and I try to use them, incorporate them in my diet nutrition plan as I train. So that's just a great plan to have. Just a great resource. It right there is Allison Knott, our team dietitian. So let's do that now. And the way this works, I have a list of the 21 people that are registered, and I have a random number generator here. So I am going to choose the number. I will do both numbers. The first one will be the medal rack, and the second one will be the 1 hour consultation with Allison Knott. So, all right, we'll draw the first number. The first number is 10. 10. I'm going to write it down because I'll forget. And the second number is 2. 10 and 2. And now we're going to take it to the list. Let me write that down. 10 and 2. And I'm just going to count down so you guys know I'm not cheating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ronald Booze. I just talked about you, man. It's freaking weird. Ronald Booze. Congratulations. You won the Team Ordinary medal rack. I think that's great too, because I know that Ron, I bet Ron uses this thing. I bet Ron really appreciates it. It's really nice when it goes to someone I know is really going to love it. And then number 2, easy enough, 1, 2, Jacob Polzin. Congratulations, Jacob. Relatively new member to the group. I say that. Feel like I keep saying that. And I've been saying that for like 6 months. He's an experienced member of the group. And I think he's been doing, I think he did a half Ironman this year. He's been training hard. He's got a lot going on. He's actually the perfect person to win this one as well. Although I think anyone, sometimes I do this and I'm like, all right, who do I want to win? And I'm like, like there's certain people that I'm like, that person could really use it. And for some reason it always works out. But I think, the reason that is because really anyone could win these things, and it would be the perfect person. You guys, it's just a great group of people, and I'm glad the stuff works out. And I think both Ron and Jacob will appreciate their winnings. And again, you got to be in it to win it. OrdinaryMarathon.com. We'll be doing more giveaways before the race itself. You're going to want to be involved. There's that again, right? So let's talk about this prior weekend's races, because we did have a few big ones. It's nice to see the turkey trot races start to come on the schedule. Keith Jones is doing one. That's actually today, the Prospect Park Turkey Trot. He's our very own Bushwick runner, and although I don't think he lives in Bushwick anymore, but that's okay. Keith Jones, good luck to you at Prospect Park Turkey Trot. Saturday was a big day. Saturday, Matt Shore was out there doing the Something Wicked 6 hours of Cathedral Pines, his mountain bike race. I got to tell you, he posted some pictures of it. He just looks like he's having a blast out there doing mountain biking. Matt, of course, ran Ironman Lake Placid, former podcast guest, sort of in the middle of this great weight loss journey that he's doing. And he just seems like he's found a bit of a passion in mountain biking, and it's really cool to see. My bike is on the trainer, and it's not coming off till March or April, whenever it starts to get warm. So it's good. I like seeing people out there getting it done, even though it's starting to turn cold. And Matt certainly seems to be enjoying himself out there. So that leaves one other race for the weekend, and that was the Philly Half. Of course, we just talked about the Philly Marathon. And this year we had 2 runners doing the Philly Half. Both of them were podcast guests. And these two, I really wanted to talk about these races on Friday, and I didn't get a chance to do that. So we'll talk about them a little today. T-Sean Laws, former podcast guest. Now, he had this race circled from a while back, doing this half marathon. For some reason, I think that originally this was going to be his first half marathon, but then he did another one before. So it wasn't his first, but I'm pretty sure that it was his A race for the year. It's good to see out there T-Sean getting it done. And I love seeing the smile with your medal at the end. All that hard work, all that, that pain that you endure during the race. And then you get through, you get your little silver blanket, and then you just throw on that big smile. And it's just good to see you getting that done, and just it feels like a good accomplishment. We can talk about doing the full at some point next year, but I know you're thinking about it. I mean, you're 2 days now in the afterglow, right? You're two days in the afterglow of finishing. You're probably thinking, wow, I wonder what it'd feel like to do a full marathon. If I feel awesome now, would you feel double awesome? The answer, T-Sean, is yes, you would. Yes, you would. I'm a bad friend. All right, Ben. The other guy that finished the Philly half was Ben Hinton. Now, we've had Ben on the podcast multiple times. We're going to do his spotlight after this as well. Ben Hinton, this was his race. He had circled this race up for a while now. This was his Olympic qualifier race. He put a lot of hard work into it. I know he was struggling a little bit in the last month or two. I did see him post last week that his goal time for this race was 1:16. And I know that the qualifying time for the Olympics is like 1:05 or even less than that. So I knew him going into the race, his Olympic dreams were probably very low. Maybe he was thinking, hey, maybe I go out there and give it all I got, and maybe it'll just be a great day. Things will match up together, and the stars will align, and you'll get that 1:05. But having that 1:16, and I think he finished around 1:20. But here's what I love about Ben. Ben doesn't care what you think about how realistic his goals are. Ben is going to set his sights high, and he's going to go for it. And then I think my fear for him always is that if he doesn't reach his goals, that it's going to be depressing, upsetting, just such a negative thing that he is going to get depressed over it or something. But he doesn't. He just continues to be an inspiration to everybody, continues to work hard. And I think to a certain degree it takes, and I say this all the time when I talk about Ben, it just takes a lot of courage to set your sights so high and know how great of a chance there is to fail and not be scared about doing something like that and not worry about what people are going to think of you if you don't hit your goal, and just continue to be an inspiration to all the people out there. I know Ben works hard. He trains hard. He tries to do the right things. I love it. And sometimes I sit here and I say, maybe I should do something crazy. Maybe I should set my goals for something that seems impossible, like qualifying for Boston or something like that. Something where I am not anywhere near. And Ben's running a 1:20 half. It's pretty close to a 1:05. But I lack the courage to do something like that because I don't know that I'll follow through, and I don't trust myself to do the work that needs to do something like that. And in a way, I probably do fear a little backlash. I mean, I do a podcast here, and for me to say, I'm going to qualify for Boston or something and have to drop over an hour and a half of my marathon PR would be a very lofty goal. And then if I didn't finish it, what would people say? Why do I worry about crap like that? I don't know. I should not. I shouldn't. And what I take from Ben when I see him, say, hey, I'm going to go for the Olympics, is the courage that it takes to make a statement like that. And to know that the odds are not in your favor, and to just do it anyway. So I admire that about Ben, and I feel sad, but I don't, because Ben's not sad. So why should I feel sad if Ben's not sad? Ben just continues to be an inspiration. And with that, I'm going to read his athlete profile from the Team Ordinary website. Again, I don't do these things justice with my reading. My eyes go faster than my voice, and I wind up stumbling over myself here. But let's talk about it. So again, Ben was one of the first guys that updated his profile on the page. And initially, when I had them on the page, I separated into three categories, which was how I started running, my favorite moments, biggest accomplishments, and then future goals. Now, if you sign up, if you join the team, you'll see it just says my running, write my running story. And that's all I really want. This was a little bit too particular. And then especially with the future goals, people were writing specific races on there. And what happens is you write that as a goal, and then you pass the race. So for example, his goal was the Philly half, and now the Philly half is gone, yet the website still reflects that. Anyway, let's talk about it. So here is Benjamin Hinton's story, how I started running. I started running on purpose in 2013, 4 months after my traumatic brain injury, which was January 2013. I wanted to finish a half marathon that I had signed up for before my injury. For me, it was a way to maintain some power and self-control in what was one of the darkest times of my life. I grew up physically active, and despite other medical adversities, I always felt independent and I had great self-pride. Basketball was my running growing up, but after my first half marathon and learning how to compete with myself through running, it has changed the path of my life. I am trying to qualify for the 2020 Olympics in the half marathon distance. It's such a high aspiration, but it keeps me humbled, encouraged, and hungry every day. My favorite moments, biggest accomplishments. My favorite moments are finishing my first half marathon in May of 2013 in 2 hours and 10 minutes. Then getting my current half marathon PR in 2018, which was 1:29:36, which he has since beaten. One of my proudest marathon finishes is my 3:11 finish in the 2017 Presque Isle Marathon, where after tripping over my shoelace and taking a hard fall at mile 18, I persevered to a marathon PR of over 15 minutes. Along the ways, I've learned to enjoy the process so much that I don't know what my favorite memories are. And future goals. My next big race, this is what I was talking about. My next big race is the 2019 Philly Half Marathon, November 24th. Then it's time to assess things before the Olympic qualifier deadline, January 2020. Look, man, it's funny. I sit here and I talk about it and I say, hey, typically what I would say, hey, just, go get the next one. The next one for Ben, if you don't qualify for the Olympics, is 4 years. It's not anytime soon. But if anyone can do it and anyone can keep the dream alive for 4 years and continue to work hard and do it, I think Ben Hinton is the guy. And I'm just proud to know him. I'm even prouder that he spends time in our group and getting to know people and sort of spreading that inspiration that he does so well. I appreciate you, Ben. It's awesome to have you involved. And that's all I kind of really want to say about Ben. I've said enough. He's a good dude. He's a good dude with a great story and a lot of positive things. Always positive, and that's what I love about it. Courageous and positive. Keep it up, Ben. Don't ever lose that. That vibe you got going. All right, with that, we're going to call it quits for today's podcast. Again, I apologize for not getting one out on Friday. I will try my best to get one out on Wednesday of this week because we have a lot of turkey trot races on Thanksgiving. It is Thanksgiving week. We're approaching, I think this is episode 298, so we are approaching 300. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to do something different. I don't know what to do. I just learned, by the way, that we're going to have marathon investigator on, Derek Murphy, who does the marathon investigator, which I talk about him on the podcast all the time. I'm going to be doing an interview with him in December. Looking forward to that one. I got a couple other guests too that I'm trying to line up here. We'll get to that as well. And always remember, every day is an ordinary day unless you make it extraordinary. So get after it, guys.